what's up guys? This is Justin Johnson live at the Guitar Loft. You know, I love the sound of the Resonator guitar. It's got that big metal cone in it. You get all kinds of these great rootsy overtones, nice swampy tone. But I always want like the option to get that big fat distorted sound like an electric guitar along with the slide. And it's not something I want to like overdub a doubled part for. I want it to be the exact same guitar part. I just want to have the option to blend between the acoustic tone, which I'd be getting from this microphone here on the guitar, and the electric guitar tone, which you'd have to get from an electric guitar amp. And so in this episode right here, I'm going to talk about how I record the Resonator guitar in order to get that tone, to get the big fat electric tone and the acoustic tone, and then be able to blend them together tastefully depending on what I want from the song. To start with here, this is this acoustic guitar here. It's kind of a mystery guitar. All of the paint at some point with the previous owner was sanded off, but it's got a beautiful tone. It's got a beautiful, nice rootsy quality to it. I love the way it sounds acoustically, and it didn't have a pickup on it. And so that's one of the first things I want to talk about as far as how to get this electric tone. If you have a Resonator guitar, and like most that I've seen, they don't have a magnetic pickup on it. I really like the sound of a magnetic pickup because that sounds more like an electric guitar. You know, you're already getting the acoustic quality of the guitar from the microphone. And there are a lot of like piezo pickups, a lot of kind of pickups that are designed to get the acoustic qualities of the Resonator guitar. But my personal opinion, at least as far as the ones that I've played so far, I always prefer the microphone sound. It just sounds like the way it's naturally projecting. You know, it sounds like the Resonator's in the room with you. And so for the microphone I'm using, this is a Beyerdynamic M160, and it's a ribbon microphone. It's just one of my favorite mics. It sounds great and nice and woolly, nice and fat. And it's a good blend with the electric guitar, which I'm going to be talking a little bit more about, the electric guitar amp upstairs. The key thing is, you know, if you're blending an acoustic sound with an electric sound, you want to make sure, for one, that you are getting a good take on both, because you might take one out, you might use both, you just don't know when you're recording. And so get a good mic on the acoustic first, and then you want to make sure, like I was saying before, that you get a magnetic pickup. And this pickup that I have on this guitar right here is made by 12 Bar Blues pickups. It's a low profile pickup, and what I love about these is that you don't have to cut any holes in the guitar. You know, I don't want to really modify this guitar at all. I like it the way it is acoustically. I just want to be able to plug it into an amp. And so you can see the installation I did here took me about 5 minutes, and it came with this low profile pickup. It's a humbucker, so you don't get single coil buzz. It's nice and fat sounding. I just used some gaffer tape here to keep the wire under control. And then it's all attached basically with double-sided sticky tape. And it can be permanently wired into the guitar if you choose to do that. 12 Bar Blues has a lot of different kits that you can use as far as whether you're going to permanently install it, whether you're going to surface mount it. These work on acoustic guitars, whether they're Resonators or standard acoustics. And I've got like, you know, a bunch of these pickups on hand just in case I ever want to do this to any guitars in the studio. And you can see here, actually, here's one of the ones I haven't installed yet. This one's black. You can get them in different colors. This is what they look like out of the box. And this one not only has the pickup here, which you can see comes with some double-sided sticky tape, but it's nice and seamless, nice and flat. It also comes with this little preamp with volume and tone, and a ground wire also, which you can attach to the guitar, or you can detach depending on how you're planning on wiring the guitar and grounding it. So it comes in that nice package right there. All right, so now that we've got the electronics worked out here on the guitar, let's talk about how to set the tones, how to get a good balance between the acoustic and the electric tones, and also just how to run this kind of setup as far as the wiring and the pedals and all of that's concerned. So right now I've got this is just the single volume knob on the 12 Bar Blues preamp. I've got that going through this Mogami cable, and I've got this going down to my pedal board down here. Okay, so this is the cable coming from the guitar. I've got it going in this transformer pedal from API, which is both a direct box. It's also just a gives you killer analog tone. It really just boosts your signal, makes it sound a lot fatter if you wanted to, a lot cleaner if you wanted to. It's got a little compression on here if you choose to use it. EQ, 3-band EQ set for guitar. And you can also control the levels. So, you know, if you got a vintage pickup, something that's low output, you can boost it. If you got something that's got a lot of real hot and it's pushing your amp too hard, you can cut it back. This is kind of like the extension of the guitar for me, and I use this on every recording I do, every time I play live, always using this pedal. It's just great. And then as far as what's on right here, I've got a little bit of grit coming from this Tone Smuggler pedal. It's a nice transparent gain, and a lot of times I use it just to give me a little subtle gain. You wouldn't even know I'm distorted at all. It just makes it sound a little fatter. And then I've got a little bit of spring reverb. I like the tone of this spring reverb from this Holy Grail pedal. And I want to give it a little bit of that electric guitar quality, so spring reverb always does that for me. And then something I'm going to use here to test the sound to set the amp is this image looper pedal from T-Rex Effects. I love T-Rex Effects pedals, killer quality, always great sound. And this loop pedal right here is the loop pedal. If you see me play live and I'm using a loop, this is always the loop pedal I'm using. I love this thing. And it's nice and simple and high quality. And so that's what I'm looking for is, you know, I'm going to go tweak the amp, but I want something to tweak. So I'm going to record something really quick with the loop pedal, and I'm going to go listen to it in the amp room. So I'm going to record something right now on the image looper, and a good piece of advice is that when you're setting the tones for a song, play the song you're going to play. Play something like stylistically exactly the same as what you're planning on playing. That way the dynamics and the attack and those different aspects of the music get communicated, and you can dial the knobs accordingly. So now the amp is playing in the other room exactly what I just put into it. So let's go follow these cables and set some tones in there. So since I'm doing my own engineering right now, it's important for me to hear not just the tone of the amp so I can set the amp settings, but it's really important for me to hear what the microphone is picking up in real time so I can actually adjust where the microphone's going to be on the amp. And one of the sort of tricks that I use here when I'm doing this by myself is that instead of using headphones that are wired directly into the interface to give me that monitor send, I'm using the X5 in-ear monitor system right here. This is the U4. And what this basically does is instead of being wired into the interface, I just plug this transmitter right here into the headphone output on my interface. And then I can walk around wherever I go without being tethered. Basically just plugging my studio headphones here into the receiver. And so now I can go into where the amp is plugged in and isolate it in a different room, and I can hear everything that I'd be hearing when I'm recording. So I'm going to put these headphones on. I'm going to start the loop pedal again, so it'll be playing the riff, and I'm going to go set my amp tones. So I just put the amp on standby. It's actually still playing that loop pedal down there. But I've got this, it's just a Shure SM57 on the cabinet here. I'm running out of a Hughes & Kettner Grandmeister 40 Deluxe head. And basically the exact thing I was playing down there, that signal's being pushed to the amp. And so now, without the headphones, I like to set the tone of the amp and just kind of get it into the vibe of the song. So I'm going to do that first. this is when these headphones are gonna start coming in handy. I'm gonna move this mic around. There's actually two 12-inch speakers in this cabinet, and I'm just gonna move the mic in a little bit closer, farther away, different parts of the speaker, until I can hear in the headphones the kind of sound that I want to capture. Because again, it's not just the amp sounding the way it is, it's about how the microphone picks up the amp sounding the way it does. So let's move it around a little bit and see what the different sounds are like. It's also good to have headphones with good isolation because you want to hear what's in here even though this amp is right in your face. So let's go back downstairs, record some stuff with both the amp and the microphone and blend it together, and we'll kind of get a feel for how we can blend the tones. Awesome. So you can see how the differences in which microphone is being focused on makes a huge difference in the way that the feel of the song and the soul of what you're trying to get across with the performance comes through. And you don't have to go double all of your parts on an electric guitar in order to, you know, get some fatness or some grit out of the tone of a resonator. And sometimes, you know, it's surprising, like I've found recording on the album I'm working on now, that sometimes I'll totally remove one of the microphones. Maybe I'll just use the electric guitar pickup from the Resonator performance, or maybe sometimes I'll think I want a meatier tone and a meaner tone, but really the rootsy vibe of the acoustic Resonator is all I really need on the song. So, you know, even if you put the work into recording like this, don't hesitate just taking one of the mics out, and that's something you do, I think, a lot of the times when you're making those creative decisions. If you enjoy the video, if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and you'll keep getting you know, alerts whenever I put out new content. And thanks for watching. Appreciate it.